I've been smitten of late with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and have been spending many an hour learning the ropes of a flight sim. But little did I realize that harder than learning the ropes of a flight sim is actually how to run it smoothly to one's satisfaction on an entry-level card. Today I'll be showing you step by step exactly how to set up a Flight Sim 2024 on an entry-level card, and in my case it is going to be a 4060 non-TI with just 8 GB of VRAM. You could apply this exact methodology to a 3060 or a 5060 8 GB card. First off, you will need DLSS swapper. I am including links to whatever you require in the description of this video. Once DLSS swapper is up, go to your game, which in our case is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Go to DLSS version and select the latest one. In my case, which is already installed. Do the same with your DLSS frame generation. And while you're at it, might as well change your FSR version as well to the latest. Just click on the version and click swap. After that, right click on your desktop, go to your NVIDIA control panel. Go to Manage 3D Settings. Go to your Program Settings. Here look for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. In case it is not here, you will have to click the Add button, browse, go to your installation folder. In my case, I've installed it through Xbox Game Pass, and you will find it on your C drive under the Xbox Games folder. Just add it from here. Now, a couple of settings you have to change here. Go to your power management mode, select maximum performance. Preferred refresh rate, application controlled. Texture filtering on, LOD bias clamp, and very important is to turn your vertical sync on. Click apply. Remember, we are with the entry level card, therefore we have to make compromises. Compromise here is the name of the game, at the same time keeping the quality of the game itself as high as possible. Next, go to your global settings, and we are going to use DL/DSR so that we can get a quality as high as possible. I am doing this on a 1080 monitor, but if you're using 1440p, you might want to skip this step. So go to your DSR factors and click these two check boxes. Okay, and adjust your DSR smoothness. In my case, I prefer 90%. Remember again, compromise is the name of the game. From here, you want to limit your refresh rate. In my case, at the moment, I'm using 144 Hz. Let's limit it to 60 Hz, and you'll realize exactly why I'm telling you 60 Hz a little bit later. Just a word of caution here, your monitor might have 1440p already listed here, even though you're using a native 1080p monitor. In that case, you might have to use another software called Custom Resolution Utility. Just click on it. Once you're in the program, you'll find your 1440p resolution listed here. Just click on it and click delete. And click OK and you're set. In case you're not happy with any of your changes, just click reset all and everything will be reset to its original state. Right now, you're done with this window. Now you want to download NVIDIA Profile Inspector. The program runs directly as a exe. Here you want to come to your Microsoft Flight Simulator tab and change a couple of options here. This is something you have already changed earlier on the NVIDIA control panel. Scroll down and enable DLL override from off to on to the latest installed. DLSS force preset later, always use latest. And you can do the same here, although these modes are not used by Flight Simulator 2024. The most important thing here is that you scroll down to your rebar and disable it. It's on default at enabled. Just click disabled because this saves a lot of VRAM, and VRAM for us on an 8 GB card is at a premium. Optionally, you can enable or disable digital vibrance here according to your tastes. After this, click apply changes and you're sorted with NVIDIA Inspector. Next, download and install Auto FPS. Again, links in the description. Once installed, just copy the settings as shown. Change your terrain level of detail to a minimum of 30 and to a max of 100. Similarly, your object level of detail, 80 at ground level and 20 when you're high up in the air. All these other values are left here at default. Also, click here Auto Target FPS. And right now, you're ready to launch your game. Auto FPS starts automatically once Microsoft Flight Simulator loads. And next we have a look at our in-game settings. Once in the Flight Sim menu, go to your settings. Ensure your display mode is on full screen. Over here, by default, you'll be playing on a resolution of 1920 into 1080. Change this to the highest possible resolution to enable DL-DSR. For anti-aliasing, I prefer using NVIDIA DLSS Super Resolution Balanced. And remember again, this is the bang middle of the line settings I am giving you. And you can tweak it up and down depending on what card you're exactly using. Probably drop this a little bit if you're using a 3060 or increase this to quality if you're using a 5060. Here, we are going to limit our max frame rate to 30 frames. And we are going to use frame gen. I prefer using FSR3, but I will show you what happens with NVIDIA DLSS frame gen. Ensure dynamic settings are off. And we come down to the mid. Most of the things here are high. You remember terrain level of detail and object level of detail, you don't have to interfere here because Auto FPS takes care of this. Everything here on high, anisotropic filtering 16x, ray trace shadows on. Now these terrain shadows are a big hitter, so I've reduced this to 256 just to gain a few FPS. The other big hitter here is trees. If you put it on ultra, you will find it hard to run the game. So stick to high. Everything else on high, depth of field off, motion blur off. And here I am not really bothered with these things too much because it doesn't take a big hit on your FPS anyways. Besides this, I made a few tweaks to my camera settings. I've changed my sitting position a bit. I am practicing on the Cessna 172. And I've reduced these speeds a little bit for a little bit extra smoothness during pans. And that's about it. We can now jump into a test flight. And I prefer to have a complex airport like maybe LAX because I find this airport to be a good test for your settings. And you can notice the FPS counter on the left. Generally the gameplay is very smooth, but however right now I'm recording a shadow play, so you might expect some stutters. Now, why do I like to use FSR3 for my frame gen instead of DLSS? You see the numbers blinking on the MFDs? Although I find it a little bit sharper, I cannot stand those blinking numbers. Therefore, I prefer using FSR3. So let's change it back to FSR3 and see the difference. There you go, the cockpit is totally smooth. But now you will realize, if you see on the distance, look at the placeholders, they will start blinking a little bit. There's nothing you can do about it. This is the result of frame gen. Let's take a little bit of a test flight on a really taxing airport. And please don't comment on my flying skills. I'm still learning this. You might notice some objects, especially on the runway, popping in and out. Let me show it to you by flying over the airport. You see that? Can you notice the objects popping in and out? The airplanes there on the left. This is because of the low terrain level of detail, and this is a compromise you will have to make. Once you gain some altitude, this makes absolutely no difference. As the terrain level of detail goes up, can you see the popping in and out? Again, a compromise. I got some stutters there, but if I'm not using shadow play, there won't be any stutters whatsoever, and you'll find absolutely smooth gameplay. Quite nice, isn't it? For a 4068 GB. I thought I'll just make this quick video for you if you're starting out with Microsoft Flight Simulator, because in a few hours from now I'll be plonking in my brand new 5070 Ti.